What's up guys, welcome to Tech Predator. The 2022 iPad Pro 12.9 inch is undoubtedly the most capable iPad around, sporting Apple's latest and greatest M2 chipset alongside mini LED technology that provides an OLED-like display that doesn't sacrifice overall brightness, new Apple Pencil functionality, and an entirely new way to use the tablet using iPadOS 16 Stage Manager. But it's also the most expensive tablet around, especially in the UK, where it costs £250 more than its predecessor at the entry level, making it hard to recommend compared to the almost equally capable 2021 range that you'll be able to find at a discount in late 2022. With that said, is the 2022 iPad Pro 12.9 inches the tablet for you? Well, in this video we will discuss all its amazing features which suits you, and at the end we will share our verdicts. But before starting, please, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, then please quickly hit the subscribe button, also like this video, and please do share it with your friends. The 2022 iPad Pro 12.9 inch is instantly recognizable as an iPad Pro because its design is near identical to the previous few generations of Apple's Pro tablet range. It's even available in the same space gray or silver finishes, lacking the more vibrant color options of the iPad Air and 10th Gen iPad. This is a work device, and according to Apple's design philosophy, that means it must look professional. That's not to say that the iPad Pro isn't a looker, it's quite the opposite, in fact. It's a supremely elegant device, with a large 12.9-inch display and a svelte chassis with angular edges that give it the same industrial look as other recent iPhones and iPads. It feels solid in the hand, though it's 682 gram and another 2 gram for the cellular model. It's not the most portable tablet in Apple's range. There is a more notable bezel on the iPad Pro than iPhone users might be used to, but it's actually welcome on tablets, giving you a bit of space to grip it without activating something on screen. It's also thick enough to house the Face ID smarts without any kind of notch for a clean viewing experience. Face ID, for what it's worth, is as excellent as ever, with quick unlocking without scrambling to find the power or touch ID button as with other iPads, and it can be used to access your hidden and recently deleted photo albums and authenticate Apple Pay too. The only oddity is the position of the selfie camera. It remains in the same position on the top edge of the iPad Pro in vertical orientation, while the new 10th Gen iPad boasts a centrally placed camera on its right side. It's much better when in horizontal configuration, especially when paired with a keyboard case, as it means you're looking directly into the camera and not awkwardly off to the right as with the iPad Pro. Considering the work-focused nature of the iPad Pro range, it would have made sense to include it here, as well as the entry-level iPad. It's possible that the new camera placement could interfere with the Apple Pencil charge point, as the 10th Gen iPad oddly still supports the 1st Gen Pencil, but we'll never know for sure. The 12.9-inch Super Retina XDR display of the iPad Pro is truly phenomenal, even when compared to the 11-inch iPad Pro. It's plenty bright and super sharp with a resolution of 2732 and 2048 that makes everything from watching movies on Disney Plus to doodling in Procreate an absolute joy. The colors are accurate thanks to DCI-P3 support, everything feels smooth and responsive thanks to the 120Hz ProMotion tech, and the dynamic range is incredible despite sporting an LCD display. That's down to the inclusion of mini LED tech exclusive to the 12.9-inch model. For those unaware, mini LED uses a thin layer of tiny LED behind the LCD panel. These LED are grouped into 2,596 dimming zones across the iPad's display, with the ability to turn their light down so low that dark tones look truly black, rather than the grayish hue you get from standard LCD displays, including the 11-inch iPad Pro. It's essentially as close as you'll get to the deep blacks of OLED without actually using OLED, while also boasting superior brightness levels compared to even high-end OLED TV, let alone OLED phones and tablets. The display boasts 1600 nits of peak brightness when watching HDR content and 1000 nits in HDR-enabled applications. When you consider the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra tops out at around 600 nits, it's a truly impressive feat that provides an unmatched viewing experience on a tablet, especially when watching Dolby Vision HDR content via Apple TV and Netflix. It does drop down to around 600 nits when watching SDR content, but that's still plenty for everyday use and should help extend battery life, an area where this year's iPad Pro needs all the help it can get, but more on that in a bit. Display tech aside, the large dimensions of the iPad Pro 12.9 mean it's well suited not only to split-screen multitasking, but drawing, video editing and word processing, as well as watching YouTube videos, streaming TikToks, and playing the plethora of high-quality games available on Apple Arcade. It really does offer the best display experience of any tablet right now, not just iPads. Just as decent is the speaker setup, with speakers at both short ends of the iPad that provide an exceptional stereo sound experience that really helps immerse you into what you're watching or playing. It's plenty loud and of a good enough quality to casually listen to music if you've not got your headphones handy, though it unsurprisingly can't quite handle heavy bass. As ever, the iPad Pro 12.9 is compatible with a Magic Keyboard that essentially turns your iPad into a fully fledged laptop, as well as the second-generation Apple Pencil. The Apple Pencil snaps onto the side of the iPad, both keeping it wirelessly topped up and easily available whenever needed, and it performs just as well as ever. The Pencil is accurate, with a 20 milliseconds response rate that makes it feel responsive in use, and it has decent tilt sensing and pressure detection too, though the latter can feel a little awkward given the hard plastic nib and the glass display. However, it now comes with a new trick up its sleeve in the form of hover mode. But rather than needing to get a new Apple Pencil, the feature is primarily driven by the M2 chipset found within the latest Pro tablet range. The idea is simple: when you hold the Apple Pencil close, around 12mm, to the display, the iPad can detect this and react. The default function is to display a preview of where your pen nib is on the display, making it much easier to accurately draw and note-take using the stylus, though it can also be used to highlight and enlarge app icons and buttons across iPadOS for easier selection. It's not new tech, available both on drawing tablets and Android stylus alternatives like the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra, but it's the first time it has been available on Apple's tablet range. Apps can take advantage of the hover tech in different ways. In digital drawing app Procreate, for example, you can adjust the width and transparency of your brush with simple pinch gestures when hovering the pencil just above the display. You'll also get a preview of the new brush size and opacity beneath your Apple Pencil on screen. Though it may seem small, these tweaks can really improve your workflow in creative apps. The Apple Magic Keyboard is an exceptional, though very expensive, keyboard accessory that utilizes a cantilever hinge and magnetic attachments to make your iPad appear as if it's floating above the keyboard, and the angle is adjustable too. The keyboard provides a solid typing experience, and with full trackpad support in iPadOS, you'll find yourself using the trackpad more than the touchscreen when connected. If we discuss about its performance and strength, one of the main upgrades of this generation of iPad Pro is the introduction of the M2 chipset, and to say that it's massively powerful might be an understatement. It's not a cut-down version of the chip found in the M2 MacBook Air and M2 MacBook Pro, either. It's the same chipset, sporting an 8-core CPU, split into 4 high-speed performance cores and 4 energy-efficient cores, along with a 10-core GPU powering the graphical experience. That massively powerful chipset is paired with 8GB of RAM on the 128, 256 and 512GB models, with the 1TB and 2TB models, boosting the RAM up to a whopping 16GB. For reference, I've been provided with a 1TB model for review. As you might expect from that combination, performance on the iPad Pro is simply unmatched in the tablet space, and it'll leave a few laptops in the dust too, with a Geekbench 5 multi-core score of 8429. Compared to the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra's 3396, it's in a totally different league. I suspect that to also be the case when it comes to graphical performance, but I'm awaiting support for the latest 12.9-inch model in the benchmarking software I use. Of course, those are just benchmarks, but it's safe to say that level of performance is mirrored in real life. I tried my absolute best to make the iPad Pro struggle, running multiple high-power apps at once with Stage Manager, adding multiple tracks of color-corrected 4K video to LumaFusion, and just about anything else to make it sweat, but I couldn't. Not once. And to be honest, I don't think there are many users that could. It's gotten to the point where the chipset is vastly more powerful than apps on the platform demand, and that means you're not really going to see the extra performance benefits of the M2 chipset in most scenarios. The M1 introduced in the 2021 iPad Pro range is still incredibly capable, especially for a tablet, and there aren't many apps that take advantage of that, let alone the M2. Apple has confirmed that there are apps coming to the iPad to better take advantage of the raw power of the Apple Silicon chipset, including the likes of Octane X, that can render polygons in real time and export in HDR, and video editing suite DaVinci Resolve, complete with real-time editing and color correction, just like its desktop counterpart, as well as smart object isolation via the M2's neural engine, but they're not here just yet. Apple and developers need to make me feel like I really need the M2 chipset to get the most out of the iPad Pro experience, and right now, that doesn't really feel like the case. It's insanely powerful, and it'll remain that way for years to come as apps play catch-up, making it very future-proofed, but don't expect to notice huge real-world gains on the already impressive M1 iPad Pro. Elsewhere, the addition of Wi-Fi 6E support is a nice touch for the few of us that have a Wi-Fi 6E router, taking advantage of the latest wireless tech to provide a consistent and fast wireless browsing experience. It's especially handy for large file transfers over Wi-Fi. There's also improved 5G connectivity on the cellular model, with support for more bands worldwide, though download and upload speeds will depend massively on the 5G coverage in your region. Software optimizations is also awesome. iPadOS is easy to use, it's slick in operation, and the App Store is filled with apps tailored to the iPad and the big screen experience. It's much better than opening an app on an Android tablet to find it simply a stretched version of the phone app with no tablet optimization. It also boasts a number of pro-focused apps like LumaFusion for video editing and Procreate for drawing that simply aren't available on Android tablets. Throw in the ecosystem support with features like handoff, allowing you to continue what you were doing on another Apple device, AirPlay, iCloud library syncing, and the ability to copy on one device and paste on another, such an underrated feature for cross-device use. And it's hard to compete with what Apple offers. The iPad Pro 12.9 inches starts at the same $1,099 in the US as its predecessor, complete with 128 GB of storage. That price only continues to increase as the storage does, with the top-end model coming in at $2,199, and that's without an Apple Pencil or Magic Keyboard. While that's pricey enough, it's a much more dismal story for those in the UK. The new iPad Pro 12.9 sees a massive £250 increase at the entry level, taking it from £999 to £1,249 for the 128 GB model, with the top-end 2TB model coming in at a whopping £2,499. That's a serious price to pay for a tablet, even one as capable as the iPad Pro, when you can pick up a MacBook Pro for the same price. It makes the iPad Pro 12.9 inch harder to justify than ever for those in the UK, especially considering the relatively minor upgrades on offer. It may be better to look for a still capable iPad Pro 12.9 inch M1 from last year, which will likely have dropped even further from its £999 RRP in the wake of the new model becoming available. That all said, you can buy the iPad Pro 12.9 inches from Apple itself alongside retailers like Best Buy and Amazon in the US, and Amazon and John Lewis in the UK. The iPad Pro 12.9 inches is the most capable tablet around, sporting Apple's desktop-level M2 chipset that provides unmatched power, one of the best displays around with a 120Hz refresh rate, and mini LED backlighting that allows it to compete with OLED displays while being much brighter, and it looks premium too. The experience is improved even more with the Apple Pencil and Magic Keyboard, with the latter turning the tablet into a fully fledged laptop replacement, though those are premium additions to an already very premium tablet, especially in the UK, with a £250 increase at the entry level. The issue is, the iPad Pro 12.9 inches 2021 is just as capable with the same display tech and overall design. Though it misses out on the hover mode and M2 chipset, the M1 of that range is still comfortably more powerful than most of the competition, and it'll be available at a discount now. That said, be sure that you'll make good use of the latest iPad Pro specific features before dropping the cash, as you might find a much cheaper iPad that'll serve your needs. Hopefully this video was awesome and informative to you guys. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel for more such interesting videos. Thanks for watching and goodbye.